Hello, once again. Thanks for tuning in. You're listening to World Combat Sports. Salute to each and every one of you that's pulling up, so the supporters and everyone who's been checking out the interviews, and also the day one supporters that always tune in and drop through on the live chat. You know what it is. Another hot one on deck. I have the one and only Joe Fournier, entrepreneur, professional boxer, undefeated. Of course, most of his business identity, he's a very successful nightclub promoter. And, it's a big history with him, with his fitness clubs and, the basic clubs he have in the world itself that are big time, well-known upper scale clubs. And he's well known, all over. He's signed with MTK Global. So he has an undefeated record of 8 wins, 0 defeats, and 8 knockouts. So I'm looking forward to speak with him because he has a fight coming up on Triller Fight Club. And he's facing an individual that he crossroads with. He himself is a pretty much well-established individual in life too. But when it comes down to it, he's in the music industry. Hold on for a second. That was him texting me. So I'll let him explain that story. But it's gonna be a bit hilarious on how these two cross paths, and now they stepping in a real boxing ring under the bright lights, and it's going to be a legitimate sanctioned boxing match. We're talking about Joe Fournier. He's been in there with some top names in sparring, and his partner is making his debut. So just stay tuned. Hey, how you doing? Joe Fournier in the building. Thanks for dropping. And on behalf of World Combat Sports, man, everyone who's tuned in, this is the one and only Joe Fournier. He's set to fight on Triller Fight Club against his nemesis reykon. How you doing today?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Just cutting weight, so a bit miserable actually. The last 10, 12 pounds are always the hardest.
I see that you you have this dynamic about you, right? You have everything that you've basically accomplished and a successful entrepreneur in life, but yet you keep coming back to the boxing business that's never going to pay you what you're actually worth. You know what I'm saying? So what keeps you driven, man? What's your motivation for all that?
I think the main thing, like I always say, is as you get older in life, you start to realize that your journey is the most important thing, not where you're going to end. It's kind of the experiences that you have in life and the exhilaration of getting in the ring and testing yourself. And also, I think when you do have the financial freedom, you start to get a little bit lazy with goal setting, all the things that kept you humble, And what's really important to me is to keep that. And when you get in the ring, it's irrelevant how much money you have. You're getting punched in the face, and that really kind of humbles you. So cutting weight makes it more fun when I go to nice restaurants after. Not drinking, keeps me mentally better at my job. The exhilaration of this kind of stuff, great interviews with great people, kind of aspiring young athletes. Like I said this earlier on today, I said, I was an immigrant in London working for £1 an hour at 13 years old illegally, right?
Mm,
So I could help my mum with the bills. Now I managed through boxing and a lot of hard work to be on a show at the Mercedes-Benz Arena in Atlanta, where
yeah.
with Justin Bieber singing. I mean, if that's not a true, someone's dream come true, I don't know what is. I was ranked number 10 in the world in the WBA. These are all accolades that I wouldn't even dream of having achieved in my life if you'd asked me 10 years ago. So I think there's a lot of positives it brings me outside of the ring as well as inside of the ring.
And that's an intriguing story. I was reading up some articles on your life journey and just what you just mentioned about, the amount of money you was making at 13 to what you're actually been able to amass as an entrepreneur in life.
Hmm.
This boxing game, it's the hurt business there, Joe. You know that. You've been in there with
Hmm.
some big names in sparring.
Yeah.
So, what have you learned with those big names in sparring? What have they taught you leading up to this fight?
I think the greatest thing about the great athletes that I've been in the ring with, inspiring David Hay, James DeGale, Chris Eubank Jr., just to name a few. I think one thing they all have in common is their work ethic. They don't mess around. When they're in the gym, I realize the difference between a pro and an amateur or a wannabe. And I think how I've managed to compete at a good level is because of I watch that and I'm like, okay, if I need to emulate that work ethic to be able to have any kind of chance because they are definitely more talented than me. So for me to get close to them, I need to work even harder than they do. And I
Yeah,
think that was the main thing really I learned. Besides, the skill attributes, also just the kind of the poker face. I know I hurt a couple of those guys, but you would have never known. And now we're
yeah,
friends. Now we're friends after that. God damn, when you hit me that day, you really got me. And I had no idea. I just thought it was felt like hitting a brick wall sometimes. So it's all the little tricks of the trade, the work ethic, and just having your mindset right. They're very focused people, the champions, and I think that helps me across the board in my personal life as well as in sports.
So I checked out some of your social media. You seem to stay in good shape, period.
Hmm.
Outside the ring when you don't have a fight coming up. So what did your training regime change extensively getting ready for this fight? Like, doing road work. What did you change up about it apart from your daily routine?
Well, look, I live at like 205 pounds essentially,
Okay.
till for the last year. Before that, actually, I blew up. After my last fight, when I won the title, I went up to like 242. So the last 4 months, I really dedicated to my health. I stopped drinking for 6 months, and I really got down to a sensible weight. But remember, I fight at 175, so even at
Yeah.
205, which is normal for a 6'1" person, I still have to change my regime. I got to eat way less, and I got to increase my road work. So now I have a 4 mile run every night on top of two a days. So it's brutal, and the sparring is brutal because when you do get a bit of a name for yourself, those young bucks, they kind of want to prove themselves against you.
Yeah.
And especially as people feel like I cut the corner a little bit in my career where I fast tracked it because of my other business life where I got to get opportunities other people didn't. So when I spar, it ain't like, two guys moving around. People are trying to get me and trying to put it on video and trying to post that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So I gotta have my wits about me. I had a brutal spar on my Tuesday, man. I'm telling you, like obviously it's the last week of sparring now, but I've done about 100 rounds for this fight, and people don't understand that I take it really seriously, like I'm a pro fighter fighting for a world title, although I'm fighting a musician this time.
Did you keep all your sparring down in Florida, or did you go over back to the UK? You go across the pond any and get
No,
work?
the best sparring in the world is down at the Fifth Street Gym. Like there's some
Okay.
incredible fighters here down here. There's Daniele Scardina, you're just won the European title down in Italy, undefeated, 19-0 now. There's been some great guys down at the gym, and obviously the Rowe brothers who I haven't had a chance to spar are always in the gym, coming in and out. And yeah, there's been some real great guys always. I mean, that's where I sparred Chris Eubank Jr. That's where I sparred James DeGale. So I just let my coach Dino Spencer down there just pick the guys accordingly. But yeah, definitely harder recovery at 38 than it used to be at 30.
Yeah, I understand. I get it.
Yeah.
Hey, it's an incredible story about the way you and your opponent crossed paths, man. It's hilarious every time I hear you tell a story. But for those who may not know, being that you are actually a professional fighter, you're 8-0. You know what I'm saying? And for what happened at the time it happened, I guess you was in Colombia. Kind of reflect on that. How did Raekwon come up there and put
Yeah.
himself in a position to potentially get his ass beat?
So I'd already signed with MTK Global in November, one of the biggest boxing managers on the planet. They have Tyson Fury, Josh Taylor, Jamal Herring, etc. So I was already gonna fight, and then I get a call from Triller saying, "Do you want to fight in the United States?" Which I've never done yet. So obviously for me, being a young boy from London, fighting in America is, really getting to the big leagues.
Yeah.
So I came to Miami before the contract was signed. I thought, you know what, let me start getting used to training back with my coach. Got back in the boxing gym, and then I'd agreed to fight someone else actually. So Raycon wasn't my opponent. I was fighting a real fighter, and
Okay.
then I went to dinner with my lawyer, talking about contracts, negotiations. And I've been single for 7 years. I'm good at everything except dating. And and I see this
Your
girl.
single is different than my single. Your single is no commitment. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
No,
two
I'm ready. I
different
want to have
levels.
kids. I just need a good woman. When it's so publicized, the money you make and things you've achieved,
Yep,
it's hard to find a girl that is pleasing to the eye, but also pleasing to the heart. There's a
no doubt.
and pleasing to the brain cells, because at the end of the day, it's got to last, right? If you're gonna have children. So
Yep.
I found myself in this odd predicament for the last 6, 7 years, but we do all right. We get by. So anyway, I'm in the restaurant. A girl's staring over. My lawyer's like, "The girl's checking you out." So I walk over to her. She was with two other girls. They were nowhere near Raycon and his crew, and there was like 15 of them. And I start talking to her. I get a little shove in my back, and as a real fighter, like, you'll never see me fighting in the streets. People always try and push her, like, but I have no interest. I'm not trying to be a tough guy. I do it for my own. I compete with myself. I don't have that insecurity of, am I tough? Am I not tough? So I look back and I was like, "Is that your boyfriend?" She says no. So I continue talking to her, and I said, "Well, give me your Instagram." So she starts giving me her Instagram. Then I get literally pushed over from behind, and obviously in return, a little scuffle kicked out. And
Yeah.
what was crazy about it is, obviously, he's huge in Colombia, Raycon. So I started getting all sorts of death threats on my Instagram, in my DM, like people sending me pictures of bombs and cars and telling me that, we know where you're staying in Miami. And I was like, holy shit, this is real. So in England, getting a bar scuffle is like how we grew up. It's like normal. It's like in Italy having an espresso at lunchtime. So usually we just fix it by talking man to man. So I DM'd him and I said, "Look, where I'm from, there ain't no gang situation. We deal with it like men, one on one in the ring. So if you want to do it, let me know. Otherwise, stop talking." Because he did some like interview about it. So he didn't reply, but he read it. I
Yeah.
screenshot it and I posted it. And I called him out. I'm like, "All right, so now it's done, right? Because you're too chicken to get in the ring. So just stop talking." And I guess that really triggered something deep in his manliness. And his management got in contact. And Triller said, "All right, if you want him as your opponent, it makes for an interesting bout because he's a bit of a street fighter, tough guy. You're a boxer. It changes it up a little bit." So he signed the contract, and here we are. In 8 days, we go toe to toe.
Hey, Joe, be honest with yourself. Let me ask you this: two sides. Let me ask you two sides, right? Where you've been in life, what you've learned, and being that you have this unique sense of being driven in what you do. Not only just being driven to be the average, but to be driven to be the best or great at what you do, right? Do
Mhm.
you have any sensitivity going in here knowing you're about to smash Ray Coin? Is it just a sense of, say, okay, let me take a light on him. Instead of going to the head, let me go to the body and punish him, in
I,
this
I
fight?
think I think generally in this fight, going against a non-trained full-time fighter, the body would be the strategy anyway. Because as all the real fighters that know is, you hit someone with a body shot, it totally changes the game, right? So
Yeah.
anyway, I would be doing that. So I'm not. it's a really weird thing. I would never want to permanently hurt any of my opponents, right? Not right now, sitting here without the lights on. But when I'm walking in the ring after 10 weeks of sacrifice and everything, whatever happens, happens. I'm going in there to,
Yeah.
with a ruthless mentality. Like I don't want to maim someone for life, but I'm not worried about that when I'm walking in the ring. You getting in that ring, it's on. So I'm not. I'm gonna see what opens up, but yeah, I'm gonna batter the body, and I'm sure he's gonna run out of gas because it's hard. Real under the lights, a real guy coming at
Oh
you,
yeah.
rip into the body. I want to see his cardio when he throws 3 or 4 punches in a row, and so I think that will then open up upstairs, and the rest will be history. I'll be surprised if he lasts around, but no. To answer your question, I'm going in there fully ruthless, trying to take this guy out as quick as possible and render him unconscious.
Understood. That's pretty much what I thought. Because the second half was I watched you face off with him. And like you did what boxers do, right? You went to the double bicep pose. You say, "No, let me unbutton my jacket." Raycon, he didn't know what to do. He just sat there tapping the glass, and you was
Yeah.
like, "He's scared. He's scared out of his mind." That
He's
was
scared,
hilarious,
man.
man.
Yeah. He's scared. I could see in his eyes he was scared. I'm surprised. Look, the one thing I will say is he isn't a coward, right? Because you know how many people have DM'd me on my Instagram telling me, bro, this guy isn't showing up. But every time he's shown up, right?
Mm.
He's trained as a full camp. He moved down to Miami to train for this. So he's
Oh,
been here
what?
the whole time, training down in Miami, real coaches. I think he was training with Frezequendo's coach. So he's been doing 2 a days. Like he's trying to, he thinks he can win. He's using this strategy of, well, Joe's the boxer, the pressure's on him, right? But I know behind the scenes he's been training because, you know, Miami's a small place. They're sparring
Yeah,
partners
yeah,
and
yeah.
sparring partners, right? So I know he's been really, really training for real, and that's gonna make for a more exciting fight because if he just cowers down and is really defensive, it's gonna be a bit boring for the viewers. And I obviously haven't fought in 3, 4 years. I want to put on a spectacle. I want to be able to show what I've been learning back in the gym for the last 10 weeks.
Speaking of spectacles, and that's good info to know there, Joe. I did not know he was over here in the States training down in Miami. And I
Yeah.
was saying to myself that you and him probably crossed paths. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? I don't know. Have y'all crossed paths since you've been training
I've
for this camp?
I've seen them a couple times. Look, I think the thing is for me is he's earned my respect, right? So by signing the contract, there's a lot of people that will sit there and tell me how terrible I am, or you're this, or you bought the title, all these negative things that people say to me. But how many of them will then sign a contract, get in the ring? None of them, right? This guy
Correct.
did it. And so he's earned my respect. So when I see him, what am I gonna do? Like pretend to be I'm not a tough guy. I'm a happy guy. I
Yeah.
smile. I'm a good personality. I'm the life of the party. So I don't pretend to be like, yo. I don't mean mug him. I'm like, what's up? Because at the end of the day, in the square circle, there's nowhere for him to run away. There's nowhere for him to talk, and I'm gonna beat him up. And I see him in the streets a couple times, and I'm just like, do that and keep it moving. I'm not trying to be, I'm not a gangster. I'm just a boxer.
For sure. I mean, I feel that you're going to finish this guy pretty early, but I just wanted to get your take on how long you was going to allow him to stay in the ring. It's really up to you. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You have much more experience under the lights inside the square. He has much more experience under the lights in concert. It's
hmm
two different types of intensities. You know what I'm saying?
I think,
I want
you
go
got
ahead.
to be careful because we're both wearing 10-ounce gloves. We're both wearing the same on that. So, even in a bar fight, some guy could, blindside you. He's going to
Yeah.
be super unorthodox. He's not going to go jab, jab, cross, slip, right hand, or jab, cross, body. He's going to be throwing weird shots. So I'm going to have my hands up. I'm going to start, working the jab, go body, and then see what happens. But like you said, if I see an opening in 10 seconds, I'm knocking him out. I'm not trying to wait around. So if he lasts around, that's because he's trained really hard and he's doing a good job. If he lasts 2 rounds, same again. If he lasts 10 seconds, he made a mistake. But I'm on it. Like I've been literally practicing just countering off anything that gets thrown at me. I've been sparring like military guys, MMA guys, boxers. I've been getting guys southpaw, orthodox. I don't even know if he's a southpaw or an orthodox.
Wow. Okay.
You know. So I've been doing it all. So my reaction speed of and you know what's great about getting older is, man, I'm punching. Like I know
Yeah.
sparring, but I put away two of my sparring partners that are pro boxers like asleep with 16 ounce gloves. I've been hitting harder than I've ever hit in my life. So
Grown man strength. Grown man strength.
grown man strength, yeah, man, it's changed a lot in the last 3, 4. I mean, I always was powerful. That was always my biggest skill. But now I'm not even trying to punch hard. I'm dropping people, you know. So it's been he's gonna find out the hard way.
Hey Joe, speaking of finding openings, right? You know, Jake Paul is another, part of your life, undeservedly. And he stepped in there with a professional basketball star in Nate Robinson. And Nate, from what I understood, he attempted to go to training. It wasn't that much training, but when it comes down to it, he wasn't a boxer. So Jake Paul earned some unbelievable recognition from knocking Nate Robinson out. I
Hmm.
heard he wanted to somehow, some way, his camp was talking trash to you that he'll put you in a coma, and you pretty much lost it and said, "Okay, let's sign the fight," and it never
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, I bet him £2 million. I said, let's do it, £2 million. Let's do it before he fought Nate. Even this was pre-Nate, and I said, let's do £2 million, me against you, and let's just see who's last man standing. At the end of the day, as a fighter, you want to challenge yourself. I'm not the kind of guy that's going to sit here and say, Jake's terrible, Jake's this, Jake's that. Jake's making $10 million this fight. Jake's a genius in reality. But I'm gonna bust his ass when I fight him. That's that's just goes without saying. At the end of the day, whether he's good or not, I don't know. Is the truth. People thought I was terrible, And when I was in the same scenario in England as Jake, they were like, "Well, he wasn't an Olympian, he wasn't an amateur, he wasn't a this, he wasn't a that. He fought scrubs until I won the title and was ranked number 10, and everyone was quiet about it." So I'm not gonna put him down from a skill standpoint. I do think it's ludicrous that he thinks he can actually get in the ring with me and go 10 rounds toe to toe, because that's never going to be a scenario going to happen. I'll said it before. I'll say it again. Jake, I want you next. You're on the list. You're my next fight. Whatever goes down, that's
Yeah,
what I want. Because even with Ben, come on, Ben is a legend in his sport. But, snowboarding and skiing is two different sports.
yeah,
Put that into perspective. So he's had a hip replacement. He's pretty much retired.
yeah.
And you're ruling him out and paying him more than he's ever got paid in the UFC to get in the ring. Cool, he's going to do it. But is that really a real fighter, a real challenge? I don't know. I'd rather take a 24-year-old kid that's trained for 24 months every day with a world-class coach like BJ Flores, and against a guy that's kind of at the end of his career with one hip and never been known for his striking.
That's true words, Joe. I mean, you hit it on the head. Ben Askren has never been known to be a knockout artist in MMA, even though he's never been finished via punches. He was knocked
Yeah.
out from Jorge Masvidal from a flying knee.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking, once you go in here and place Raycon in the land of Nod, then I think you and Jake Paul can build up a pretty solid matchup, man. Once
Yeah.
he finished his fight with Ben Askren, I think y'all will do good numbers on Triller, man.
I agree, and the thing is, it's just a shame. Like, he's done his training camp down in Miami, and they avoid me like the plague. They avoid me whether it's good or bad. They don't even mention my name anymore, because I think when the only thing he said recently is he called me an old man, and he was right. I'm 38 years old. I'm worried about the white hairs in my beard showing on camera, more than I am, more than all of his worries. But so I'm the old man. Get it in whilst you can. Get me on your record. This is the perfect time for him. There's 14 years age gap between him and I. I lost my
Yeah.
virginity when he was -1. He wasn't even a sperm, right? So if there's any chance Jake Paul hasn't beaten me, it's right now.
Yeah, true, true. So he
So
has to
let's
make
see.
that move, man. It's all
Yeah,
about if he has the confidence to make that move or not. But I think that'll be a solid matchup, especially what Triller has going on right now with matching, putting on these matches like you and Raycon, kind of outside the scope of regular standard boxing. You know what I'm saying? I
absolutely.
think it'll be solid numbers, man.
Yeah, I agree. So I've been pushing him. I sat down with his manager, Nikisa, in Vegas. I said, "Come on, man, let's do this." And he was like, they don't. I know they don't want it, because at the end of the day, I'm not as famous relatively as Conor McGregor, right? So Conor McGregor. So they would rather call him and upgrade Jake than they see me fighting as a downgrade in a really hard fight. But if the public wants to see it and there's enough traction behind it, then he has no way to move, right? He's got to then
Correct.
fight his demons. Because I don't know, why would Conor ever want to fight him? He's worth a few hundred mil. His whiskey's doing great. He's a real fighter that's never messed around.
Absolutely.
He went toe to toe with Mayweather, the greatest, one of the greatest of all time. Why would he go fight a guy from the Disney Channel?
Well, it's all about entertainment now.
Yeah.
Certain things can happen. We never would have thought that Conor McGregor can go over as an 0-0 professional boxer and take on our best over here of this era in Floyd Mayweather. It was unbelievable. And then not only that, Joe, it was $100 per PPV, which was incredible.
Incredible. And it sold like crazy.
Oh, it sold like crazy. Absolutely. But I hope he steps up, because you're a legitimate professional boxer. You're 8-0, about to be 9-0. And when it comes down to it, I mean, what more does Jake Paul want? I mean, he's the main event. He hasn't fought a real fighter as a boxer. So it'll be great for him to step up.
And he's the bigger guy. At the end of the day, he fights at a high weight category than me. He's 15 pounds heavier than my championship weight. So he's getting a lot of perks there. I have the experience, but I don't have any amateur pedigree either. He's got 14 years on me, and he's 15 pounds bigger. So there's a lot of, it won't be that easy of a fight. A fight generally, on paper, it won't be. But, there's something that us real fighters have done, a lot of them cats have, and there's that little extra grit and determination. And, I hope Ben takes him into deep water so we can see what he can do.
Oh, absolutely. I hope so, too. I'm actually down here in Atlanta. So I'm looking forward to being around that particular fight. I'm not sure what the weigh-ins are going to be like. I'm still waiting on Triller to get back with me on that. But yeah, man, a lot of people are talking about this. It's no ticket sold, though, for this fight. So they're just going to
I think it was still COVID regulations when the show was put together. I'm hoping to get a good win on this one and fight again June the 5th on the Teofimo Lopez undercard at the Marlins Stadium in Miami. Again, a great thing for the history. Tell my future kids about. These are all just memories, that I'm trying to collect and kind of building up that legacy of my life. Goes in the book.
Absolutely. Hey, Joe. Last two questions. With your success in business and everything, kind of give an overlay on how that all came about. You know what I'm saying? With your success in business as an entrepreneur, multiple nightclub owners, getting out of the fitness business and selling it. Give an overlay of how you became successful in that manner.
Look, I'm gonna give just 3 entrepreneurial tips that I give everyone. Number 1, have a plan. All right, so have a goal you want to achieve. That's really important because you got to know where you're going. You need a roadmap. So I used to always just put a big piece of paper down and write down what the end goal was, and then figure out how to get there. Number 2, never give up. A lot of people, I think Kanye West said it in an incredible way. Society wants you to feel insecure, so you don't break the mold, right? They want you to follow the path. They want you to follow the path of going to school, going to college, getting a job, being an apprentice, But at the end of the day, you see all the unique entrepreneurs and especially, as an immigrant, it's a little bit different, right? I'm not saying it's hard or easy, it's just different. And I think you got to push the barriers. I grew up 5 of us in a studio apartment, right? So my destiny and from my neighborhood wasn't one to do what I've achieved. So I kept my ears open. I kept working hard, and I just didn't take no for an answer. I just kept plugging. Before I got on this Triller card, I hope you interview one day the owner of Triller, but I must have sent him over 100 phone calls and messages to get on from the Tyson Jones fight. Put me on, coach. Put me on, coach. Put me on, coach. Even I think they just didn't want to pick up the phone to me anymore. And that's me as a successful multimillionaire, still that work ethic of put me on, coach, right? So, even when I washed dishes, I had to wash them to the best of my ability. Everything that I did was the best of my ability, and I wanted to improve. So I would say never give up. And anything you do, give it 100%. I don't want to have headaches and tiredness and body aching and neck aching, 38. But I did it because I said I was going to fight, and I'm going to fight to the best of my ability. So that's number 2 is don't give up and do it to the best of your ability. And the last thing is have faith. You know, believe in something bigger than you, and know that there's always going to be a message that you then give to other people around you. And I think one of my biggest inspirations is aspiring people right now is the amount of, DMs I get of people going, wow, man, I was feeling real rough today, but that good morning Miami Beach watching you run has really perked me up. I'm gonna head to the gym myself. So that actually is like a lot of fuel for my desire right now. The last few years is just realize it without realizing how many people I've touched to be positive.
Well said, man. And lastly, what has been the craziest thing that you've done in your life, that you had the opportunity to do in your life, that's just on the edge of insane?
Yeah, I think, I'm quite controlled actually. I'm pretty controlled, but I have to say, one of the best experience in my life so far in sports was fighting at the O2 Arena in London on David Hayes' undercard,
Yeah.
24,000 people, 7,000 tickets I personally sold. So I had my whole
Mm.
school there. I had Jose Mourinho there, the soccer manager, and then winning by knockout as a 4-1 underdog, in my third pro fight in the second round. Like that was crazy, that was a real, like, I was so nervous going into it, and then just being able to perform under lights, and I'm like, shit, man, I still got this. That was incredible experience. Probably one of the most memorable things I'll ever do, probably.
Is there a different type of energy over there in the O2? I've never been there, but I hear the ring walk is a different type of energy over there. The
Yeah,
UK crowd gives their boxers.
yeah.
How did you feel with that energy walking to the ring?
Well, imagine I personally sold literally people coming to my doorstep like old school boxers do, tickets from my house, 7,000.
Mm,
Right? So you imagine at least a third of the arena was my fan. And I'm finding a huge show. Shannon Briggs fought that night. There was some David Hay. So
okay.
I literally had, probably the whole arena was cheering for me, local London boy. And so just when I came out, I always play Winston Churchill's Army Corps before the army went to war against the Nazis. And he goes, we'll fight them in the seas, we'll fight them in the landing grounds, and we will never surrender, right? So just hit all the lights were off, and that been played across the town. I got pins and needles, down my neck, and just walking into that ring, and the first two jabs, bang bang, and you're like, okay, it's on, that will
Yeah.
be, that'll be something that I will remember for life. And I want to actually thank my coach, Spencer, because he had me when I was unlicensed, fighter fighting in the pubs, and he's the one
Oh,
that told me. He's the one that told me, you're good enough to turn pro. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today. So that's why I always come back to Miami Beach. I train at the Fifth Street Gym, and I always say thank you.
man, incredible story. Hey, thanks for the pleasure of dropping through with World Combat Sports, man. Learned a lot. You're only like maybe just over a week. You're on the eve of coming down here and fighting in Atlanta, and we're looking forward to it. You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you.
But first and foremost, it was a pleasure, Joe.
Yeah,
Being
me
able to
too.
chop it up with you and everything. Much continued success, and also going in there getting that victory against reykon. Your past nemesis. He'll be your
Yeah,
past nemesis after next
yeah,
week.
absolutely, brother. Thank you for your time, and it's a real pleasure to be on the show.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Take care, man.
What's going on, people that pulled up? Big dog in the building. D Ray, um, Silver, what's good? Andrew Charles, salute to you. That was Joe Fournier. He's actually cutting weight. He has a fight down here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on the Triller fight card next week. He's fighting. If I'm not sure if everyone tuned in, but basically, it's a guy that approached him when he was in his country. Joe was in his country of Colombia, and he was attempting to, holler at a female. You in country visiting. You probably had some business. This is um a guy who's extremely successful in business. He's owned multiple fitness clubs, nightclubs, everything. Sold his business, the stock and everything, made millions and millions of dollars. He's known, put it that way. He's a multimillionaire. But he was over in this guy's country that he's stepping into the ring with next week. And he was trying to talk to a female, and the guy pushed him in the back. and he pretty much said that, reykon, had a lot of guys with him. So therefore, when the opportunity presented itself, he reached out to see if he wanted to fight on this card. And reykon is a big time artist, music artist over there, and he's known. He's well known. He's a big time celebrity over there. So he's taking on a big challenge. He never had a professional boxing bout. As you heard Joe mention, he's down there in Miami, Florida, training too. I think he said Frez Oquendo trainer. He's down here taking it serious for what it's worth. He want to get in there and throw some combinations, remediate. Try to get a little bit of coordination down off the mitts or something. You know what I'm saying? Because even if it's going to be a minimal crowd at Mercedes-Benz is huge, just like anything. I'm not saying he's going to be afraid because he's an artist, right? But Joe Fournier is a professional fighter, 8-0. He's been under the bright lights. You heard him just mention he fought in the O2 Arena. So for reykon, he's used to being under the bright lights in a different perspective with a crowd in concert. But you're heading into combat now. The energy's different. Your alertness is different. You zoning out differently. You about to go in there and split the ropes and fight. And this is going to be televised on PPV. So of course it's going to be different, man. But I have Joe going in there stopping this guy. If it doesn't happen in the first round, it's going to happen soon. You know what I'm saying? And the one process I hope that happens is that Jake Paul, there's a little back and forth, a little history, as you heard him mention, between him and Jake Paul. I believe that would be a good fight for Jake Paul, because this guy is a legitimate professional fighter. He's been in there with the likes of James Nagel, Chris Eubanks Jr. in sparring, right? He's had the teachers, the individuals down there at the Fifth Street Gym to teach him. So therefore, when it comes down to it, Jake Paul's never fought anybody on this man's level, regardless of who his opposition is. He's never fought anybody on that level. So it'll be a good fight. You know what I'm saying? It'll be a good fight for Jake Paul. That's if he gets past Ben Askren. Now, listen, I'm rooting for Ben Askren, but at the end of the day, Jake Paul's a young lion in the fight, and he has some amateur pedigree. Now, when Roy Jones tells me straight up, he said he has better boxing than people think. He boxed amateur, but he never pursued it. But he has better boxing. I'm saying to myself, but I believe that he's going to, get the best of Ben Askren. Ben Askren's coming off a hip replacement. He's on the backside of his UFC MMA career. He did enter the organization 18-0. He was able to earn a single win against Robbie Lawler before losing to Jorge Masvidal and Damian Maia back to back. Boxing wise, I never known Ben Askren to throw those hands like that. I'm not saying Jake Paul is going to knock him out. I can't tell you, but it's going to be tough for Ben Askren. Ben Askren, Jake Paul finishes Ben Askren and then turn around and Joe finish reykon. Then them two can potentially meet up. That'll be a good fight for Jake Paul. That'll be a bona fide, legitimate fighter. Also, Joe Fournier was also the WBA international title holder. So therefore, you have somebody that's held the title and has an O on their record that's about to be 9-0 next week. So that'd be a good look for Jake. You know what I'm saying? That would be a good look for Jake. As far as on paper, I don't know how it's gonna look in the ring because Jake is up there, around that cruiserweight level. And Joe is fighting at 175 light heavyweight. So there you go. Hey, Andrew in the building said good stuff, WCS. Appreciate you. I wasn't even looking down here at the live chat, but Silver said, has anyone ever told you look like Sergio Moro? Yeah, just a bit. Just a bit. Are you calling a fight? Unfortunately, no. You know what I'm saying? It would be great to call the fight, but when Snoop Dogg, Snoop D, I almost call him Snoop Dogg. Snoop D-O double G is in the building. Snoop is the co-owner of Triller. So therefore, when people are saying, okay, we want Snoop to sit ringside in a basketball game and give his analysis, you know what I'm saying? We want Snoop back commentate on the boxing. Snoop is going to be there. And then there's going to be two other people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure who, but it's going to be fighters. All right. So no, to answer your question, no, that ain't happening. But what is great is that, Mount Westmore, they're making their entrance. The OGs, Ice Cube, E40, Too Short. I mean, come on, man. And Snoop D-O double G. They're going to be performing along with Justin Bieber, Doja Cat, Doja, what their name is, and some other people too. It's going to be a big time freaking performance along with boxing entertainment that night. 21 Strong in the building. What's good? What's good? WCS, you need to photograph this. That's what I'm trying to work out with them now. I've been communicating. That's why I have the contacts of the people that I've interviewed already. I was able to interview the UFC former two-time world champion Frank Mir last night. Also interviewed Quinn Randall. He's going to be facing William Jackson on that card. Just the opportunity to, kind of reach out and touch bases with these individuals that I probably never would have crossed paths with in my life. You know what I'm saying? So it's a good thing. And also being able to communicate with these individuals with Triller and to them to have enough trust in me to provide me with the contacts and therefore allow me to interview them. It's a process, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It don't have anything to do with all these views. It's all about how you go out here and work, grind, low crawl, goddamn put in the work, and you have all this work to show people. They don't worry about all this viewership thousand. They say, damn, he got a whole lot of work out here. He's been doing this. He's this, that. That's how it works out here. So I'm gonna keep on grinding. But I definitely appreciate the ones who always pull up in the live chat. It might not be in this business. I told you when boxing is spinning back up, it might not be the big names that you want right away. But I'm gonna get there. I got some shit pending. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I hopefully have some for y'all this weekend. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully. I don't put my shit out there until I know it for a fact, because you got too many people out here hating. I'm not gonna be sitting up here. I got something special. I got something in store for y'all. I got something good. Yeah. I said, hey, just hold tight, and I'm gonna try to make it right. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get my peaches down in Georgia. Yeah. What peaches you talking about? You talking about the peaches that you go to the farmer's market and you pick out the ones that you want? Or you talking about them Ebony Georgia peaches? Because that's a different type of fruit right there. You know what I'm saying, D-Ray? Are you talking about the farmer's market peaches? Are you talking about them Ebony Georgia peaches that's covered in chocolate? I don't know which ones you're talking about. How to underestimate Jamal against Frampton. What you mean by that? How to underestimate Jamal against Frampton? If you're talking to me, if you saying I underestimated Jamal versus Frampton, I'll put it this way. It wasn't like I underestimated Jamal versus Frampton. I was just going off his age. I know the backstory to Jamal and how he even was signed with Top Rank. I think to this day, leading up to Frampton, was his best night was Ito when he won the title. That was his best performance, period, until he fought Frampton. That's bar none his best performance in his career. Now, like I said, I keep it 100. I thought he wasn't going to do fairly well because of his previous fight. Excuse me. But me not being a doctor, you know, he might have felt some type of way as far as going into that fight. Some fighters are not 100% healthy. I don't know what it was, but he basically went in there and once again showed us that you really can't predict this boxing game. You can't predict this boxing game. You know, Jamel went in there, and you know, I'm just keeping it. I was keeping it genuine within my own heart because he's a Marine just like I am. But I'm going to assess the situation on what I think about, you know, his performances leading up, and then I'm gonna look at Frampton and I'm gonna give my assessment. I'm not gonna just say because he's a Marine, you know, well I'm gonna go for him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's black, let me go for him. I was just assessing his performance. But I salute him, man. He went in there and got the job done. And a lot of people, you know, they hit me up, right? Now that the situation has came to the surface about what's next. What's next? Supposedly Jamel Herring is saying that he would rather fight Oscar Valdez than Shakur Stevenson. All right? He'd rather attempt to unify at 130 than to fight Shakur Stevenson. So, you know, I was getting different type of emails. People was like, oh man, he's ducking. You know, he should be on the Duck Masters Coalition. He ducking Shakur Stevenson, this, that, and the other. And then I had people saying he should fight Oscar Valdez. Oscar's the bigger name at 130. My choice was, why not fight Oscar Valdez? Oscar Valdez at this point in time has a bigger name than Shakur Stevenson. But I support, man, Shakur Stevenson heavy. I'm not gonna lie. I've said it before. I want Shakur Stevenson to go in there and get his title shot against Jamel Herring. But once again, I say it and I say it again. People always want to talk about black fighters fighting black fighters. When does it ever happen? When do we get the Errol Spence and the Sean Porters? Rarely. We rarely get that shit. Who else can say that the big fights have happened between, you know, Terrence Crawford, Julius Ndongo? You know, I mean, what are we looking at? But anyway, when it comes to the names, Oscar Valdez balanced the scales heavier when it comes to notoriety than Shakur Stevenson do. He does, man. And then you have to take in perspective Jamel Herring's decision-making process. He's at the end of his career. He's going to get a bigger paycheck going over there fighting Oscar Valdez. Furthermore, he has the opportunity. I had to catch myself. He has the opportunity to unify. Because Oscar Valdez, shit, Jamel Herring might go in there and upset Oscar Valdez, y'all. Look, Herring might go on this incredible, crazy run at the end of his career. Seriously, he might go on this crazy ass run. He might go over there and defeat Oscar Valdez. I'm serious, man. Like, I think Jamel, man, he's like, damn, they keep on underestimating me, man. I don't know. When I think he's on his way out the door, retirement, because he even spoke about it. So I'm like, shit, Jamel acting like he's about to leave. He's about to head out. He goes over here and fight Oscar Valdez for the WBC junior lightweight title and win? Shit. What's next? Gervonta? I don't think so. I don't know. But can you imagine him making that gauntlet, running that gauntlet? He go over there and defeat Oscar Valdez, and then out of nowhere, he's fighting Gervonta Davis? Man, come on. Or fighting for the vacant IBF. But anyway, that's my take on that. For Shakur Stevenson, right? Look, this is one of those young cats. I got mad respect for his courage, man. You know what I'm saying? His consistency. Staying out of social media, you know, constantly staying focused in the boxing game, and he's wanting to fight the best. It's fucked up. Real talk. It's fucked up that Shakur Stevenson is pretty much getting the palms to the face and say, oh, wait right there. And I told you all several lives ago, I said, I hope Shakur Stevenson doesn't get placed on the shelf, not by his promotion, but by his opposition. And that's what I see. That's what it seems like is going on right now. Jamel Herring, of course, is not going to fight Shakur Stevenson outside if he has the opportunity to fight Oscar Valdez, because the names are separate. Valdez just coming off a knockout heard across the world in Miguel Burchelt. And you think that Miguel is not going to take on the older WBO champion Herring? Yes, he is. That gives him an opportunity to pick up another belt. But the good thing about it is, let's say, for instance, Shakur Stevenson don't get the fight with Jamel Herring, right? And Jamel Herring goes over there and defeat Oscar Valdez, or Oscar Valdez defeat Jamel Herring. It may set up a potential fight for Shakur Stevenson to fight for the unified titles. I'm just saying. He might get a 2-for-1 special with some sweet tea in that motherfucker. Mel, he a Marine Corps vet. Y'all grind, yeah, for sure. He is. He is for sure, no doubt. Yes, I love guys. I love guys like Joe. I hope he destroyed Jake. Yeah, man. Hey, shout out to Illmatic in the building, man. I like guys who has. Look, this guy is a millionaire over, but yet he still comes to the gym and want to train in the hurt business. He still want to go in there and smell the sweat. You know what I'm saying? The humidity. You know, hear and see people going through rigorous training regimes. You know what I'm saying? Training courses. You know, putting on the gloves, taking the punishment and everything when you got millions. What did Marvin Hagler say? It's hard. It's hard getting out of those motherfucking silk sheets and go train. It's hard. Come on, man. Them silk sheets, the silk pajamas, it's hard getting up, going on a goddamn run when you sleeping on silk sheets. I ain't gonna lie, dog. You know, I don't know what that's like. I don't like silk sheets myself. But for those individuals who do, cool. But yeah, man, shout out to Joe Fournier, man. Good dude, man, very successful, smart. And for him to want to still come back to the boxing ring when he has successful businesses, like two of his big time business nightclubs. Let me see, is nightclubs or restaurants? I think they're nightclubs. One is called Paris Hilton. Another is called Madonna, and he has 2 or 3 more. That's not even the sole, revenue that he brings in from those clubs. That's just what he's built and what's known in his name. But shout out to him for success, bro. Illmatic say salute. It's already set that Herring has to fight the winner of Stevenson and his opponent. It's not, he has to vacate. So appreciate that information, Illmatic. That's what I'm talking about. You have 6 in the building. As long as they're giving me information, I'm good. So being the Illmatic just dropped, that he has to face the winner of Stevenson, great. Because if you looked at it, Stevenson before was enforcing his position to fight Jamel Herring, but they didn't want to drop that fight between Jamel Herring and Carl Frampton. So the fight was delayed, and then they finally fought. He ended up getting a stoppage. Now, Shakur Stevenson goes ahead and get another win. Jamel Herring has to fight the winner of that fight. So if he doesn't want to fight him, he has to vacate the title. That's good shit. Good info. Usually I know shit like this, but I got so much going on. It's only one of me. So, I'm up here. I'm swamped right now. But yeah, what else? What else is popping? Something that was just on the tip of my tongue. Hold up. I'm looking forward to this. I don't know if y'all been paying attention. I'm looking forward to this Conor Ben Samuel Vargas fight. Real talk. I like how Conor Ben comes in there with that energy. He gives you that flash, all that. And Samuel Vargas is no joke, man. It doesn't matter, what his ups and downs has been as of recent, but this is gonna be a damn good fight, Samuel Vargas and Conor Ben. Hell yeah. I like this fight, man. Y'all should make sure y'all tune in for that. I like this fight right here with Samuel Vargas and Conor Ben. Real talk. The pressure to have the name Ben as a boxer, that's a lot of motherfucking pressure. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's a lot of pressure. So I know y'all have heard, and I didn't really want to mention it, but supposedly Anderson Silva is going to fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I'm torn in a sense where I would have liked to see Roy Jones Jr. and Anderson Silva in a boxing match. That's just me. You know, Anderson Silva being 1-1. His first boxing match, he was stopped, and then he won his last one. I think it was back in the 90s or whatever. But he's due to step in there with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And I don't know, man. The interest isn't there for me when it comes to Chavez Jr. I don't know what's going on with this guy. Like when he just basically, it's the hurt business. So I don't want to say he quit on the stool, but he quit on the stool, right? And then it's boxing sometimes. Most of this stuff really happens in mixed martial arts where you can lose like that and then you come back with a big name. Chavez Jr. to a point with all the damn boxing. Let me back up. With all the experience that he has as a boxer, right? Over 50 some fights, right? He's stepping in there with a guy like Anderson Silva, who's very experienced in himself in mixed martial arts. But this is straight up is going to be a boxing match. And when I hear Chavez Jr., it always takes me back, comparable to his fight with Anderson Silva, that he may indeed move around like he did with Canelo Alvarez. Like he absolutely put minimal effort into trying to defeat Canelo Alvarez. So I'm really bewildered right now to see what type of effort he's going to put in with Anderson Silva. Are you going to try to go in there and make it an entertaining fight? Or are you just going to move around and give us some entertainment? You know what I'm saying? What the fuck are we, what are we watching? Are you really going to give us that entertainment value and go ahead and try to, you know, punish Anderson Silva? Or are you just going to move around? You're just going to put on a show, give the crowd what they want, and that's that. I don't know, but I wish it was Roy Jones. And speaking of Roy Jones, you know, there's rumor out there that he may be fighting Oscar De La Hoya. And I will have to try to get Roy Jones on the show. If this is indeed true, I really want to get him on the show so he can talk about this. Roy don't fuck with YouTube. Roy said, man, get the fuck out of here, man. I ain't going no YouTube. Roy don't really fuck with YouTube like that. But I'm really trying to get him on here. If this is indeed true, I'm going to try to get Roy Jones on here and talk about this fight with Oscar De La Hoya. What do you all think about this? Dig down. You know, what do you think about Roy Jones, Oscar De La Hoya? Or is it Floyd, Oscar De La Hoya? We don't know. You know, 1 minute I'm hearing, okay, Floyd is going to be coming in here and him and Oscar De La Hoya may fight. And then I hear, you know, Roy Jones might be fighting Oscar De La Hoya. We don't fucking know, man. We don't know. But if it's indeed true, I'm going to try to find out one way or the other on who's fighting who, since these guys are coming out and, you know, putting these fight-ons on Triller. You know, we're still waiting on Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. I want to see Evander Holyfield, but if you turn it down $20+ million, Jesus Christ, how much do you need to come in here for an exhibition or a fight on Triller at your age? That's damn good money at your age for somebody to pay you $20+ million to come in here. Absolutely. So I'm kind of torn as to what is the holdup? What is the delay? Let's get it in. Let's go. And you know, shout out to my boy Dion Nicholson. You know, he has a fight scheduled coming up. Man, this is a tough fight. I believe, matter of fact, let me look it up before I say something, but I believe his opponent is undefeated too. He's fighting out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. If you don't know the backstory behind Dion Nicholson, man, he was incarcerated, turned his life around. He's really been doing excellent in life, man. Good guy, man. Always with his family. Yeah, he has a fight coming up. It's just not scheduled. They don't have it set on BoxRec yet. But yeah, keep close for Dion the Equalizer Nicholson. You know what I'm saying? He fought on Showtime against Earl Newman, who was much more experienced, and he put on the show, man. It was a damn good fight. Shout out to that whole Bomb Squad crew. You know, Tay Jones is fighting this weekend down here in the ATL. You know what I'm saying? The Golden Warrior's back in the ring from a hiatus. You know, he had to nurse an injury, and he's back in the ring. So look forward to seeing that happen. Like I said before, you have Brian Norman Jr., the assassin. He's going to be back in the square. The same Brian Norman who stepped in there and got it in with Tank Davis for 2 days. And you know what it was. We don't need to rehash that shit. I was there. I seen what happened. Excuse me. Then he would go on to fight on Showbox, win and got the stoppage. So now he's fighting down here to pick up another win at the Buckhead Fight Club. So he's going to be in the building showing out. Eric Moon is going to be back. You know, and then it's a fighter that you may not know that's pretty entertaining out of the ATL. You know, his name's Sniper. He out of Mustafa's gym. You know, I'm definitely can tell you I may shoot all the fights that I just named. I'm not sure. That's a lot of work. I'm not sure, because listen, people don't know how difficult it is to video by shooting stills to get the money shot. You know, I may come down here and have 3,000, 4,000 photos to go through and only maybe get 4 or 5 money shots. The MS, as I call it. The MS is the one where the punch is connecting and either the face is distorted or you get the punch landing. That's the money shot. It don't matter if it's an uppercut, body shot, them's the MS that you want. So I'll try to see if that's going to be in the game plan, you know, but that's where I'm at. Mike Tyson said, I want Holyfield and I want Lennox Lewis this year. Mike, sometimes you just need to have someone next to you when you goddamn smoking, because I think you feel good about yourself sometime, and then you want to goddamn get on the phone and tell your people, hey, I'm going to be honest with you. I want Lennox Lewis. I want Evander Holyfield. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like a champ again. You know. Man, let me stop fucking with Mike. Give me a call and shit. And of course, I got to mention my last 2 topics that'll never go away with Deontay Wilder's situation. You know, what's going on, L-Dub? What's good? What's good? Salute, man. Y'all be sure to check out L-Dub Boxing over there on YouTube, man. You know, the Deontay Wilder situation, definitely pay close attention as to what's going to happen in the upcoming weeks. All right. I know a lot of people trying to rush it because their interest, to some, not all, they're pretty much trying to push for a Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. So you're going to have to, you know, pump the brakes on that and wait till the legal part is over and done with. For those individuals that was waiting for Deontay Wilder to come out and speak, you know, yeah, he did speak on the podcast that's already out. He spoke. You know, people keep talking, they haven't seen him. Dillian White keep on talking about that he was posting with alcohol, pistols and everything, as if he's drinking himself into oblivion. And that's just not the case. But Deontay Wilder has came out and spoken. He was in good spirits for you know what I'm saying? There's no way that you can sit up here and assume otherwise. He was in good spirits. He was talking his talk, and they have a situation to take care of. So when that situation has concluded, then we'll get the what's in the hot wash. The hot wash is post. What's in the hot wash? Is it going to be, this? Is Deontay Wilder going to be facing somebody else? Is he going to get paid? That's the big question. That's the big question. My numero uno, my A+, what I want to happen is that he step in there and face Tyson Fury right now. It's the perfect fight to happen. This fight with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury is a much better fight than Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. The reason being because they've been in the ring twice already, right? It will be a trilogy that, you rarely see of this time. People, with quality, the top heavyweights in the sport. A trilogy is controversy, intrigue, it's suspense, it's drama behind it. And then also we're opening back up. They're opening back up to capacity, to the live gate. So it's the perfect time for this fight to happen between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. The perfect time. Because it has every component that you would want for a storyline. It has a history to it. You know what I'm saying? And you can pretty much speak about what's going on in the present. And then you can pretty much believe that there's going to be hundreds of thumbnails out here if this fight is made official on the fight when it's scheduled. What's going to happen? Of course, they're going to say, can Deontay Wilder survive? Or can Tyson Fury survive? Will Tyson Fury be able to pull off another upset over Deontay Wilder? Will he be able to, hold on to his title? Will Deontay Wilder be able to regain his title? All those questions are going to be asked. So that's why I say this fight is much bigger than Fury Joshua. It doesn't matter if Hearn get on here and say he want to damn put the fight on in Pluto. You know what I'm saying? He want to go to Pluto. I mean, it's no audience here on Earth. So therefore, if there's no audience here on Earth, let's go to Pluto. The sight fee over there is amazing. We just have to wear some gas masks. And therefore, Fury and Joshua is going to fight in this capsule, allow them to breathe regular. No, we're not doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing it. It doesn't matter what Hearn say. They can go across the world and come up with a site fee. Supposedly, he's telling the media that a site fee is going to be presented real soon. If that's the case, so be it. Cool. But Eddie Hearn has been known to tell a fib or two. He's been known to lie. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, if you have a site, I want to hear it. I'm listening. All ears. I want to hear it. Where's this fight going to be? Saudi? Abu Dhabi? Where's it going to be? Venus? Where the fuck is it going to be? You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, I want to see two people in there for the trilogy. That's it. And lastly, what was the last fight I was going to talk about? I can't believe was it a fight now? I can't believe I totally forgot that. It wasn't Wilder, but I'll think about it later. But I'll end it with this. If by chance Fury and Wilder doesn't happen, then we get Dillian White. Cool. I really want Dillian White to get that fight. Seriously, it's time for Deontay Wilder to put a rest to dead this between Dillian White because he's still talking. And at this point in time, it's the same rhetoric over and over again. So I think people, a small percentage, wants to see if Dillian White really has a chance against the Bronze Bomber. You know what I'm saying? So if he's able to get the fight, it is what it is. But, I'm not going to hold my breath over it, period. But appreciate everyone for pulling up, man. You know what it is? The supporters, the ones who stay tuned. It's all about the hard work and the grind. That's what really matters. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about shit you don't support. Those of you that keeps mentioning my channel. Don't worry about shit you don't support. Just worry about the work that is being done. Salute, turn up, and tune in to World Combat Sports.